so again, I look really white and it's not even that bright outside, but you know my camera, so excuse Brayvah and her movie in the background. I'm trying to do this really quick because I'm cooking and it's getting dark. So, and I keep putting this off. So, yeah, this is just basically, I think I'm going to do this in 2 parts. I'm going to talk about my labor and delivery with Brayvah and what we're going to do for this baby. So basically with Brayvah, I went 10 days past my due date with her. She was due August 21st, 2011, and I had her August 31st. Basically, I think leading up to being 40 weeks, I had, and a little bit after, I had 2 cervical sweeps done that didn't really do anything. And then once I got to 9 days past my due date, we decided to plan for an induction because I was just like, so like, I want my baby and I want to have this baby. Blah. So we planned an induction. That was August 30th.
Mom.
What? Juice? Okay. That was August 30th. We planned it for 6 a.m. August 31st, and she, you know, checked the baby was fine, and I had an ultrasound, I think, the day before or something. They were saying my fluids were getting low. And so we went and planned it, and then she also did another cervical sweep. Well, the rest of the day I was just kind of like tired, crampy, just didn't really feel myself, I guess, that day. I tried taking a nap, but I was just having, because I was so big, my like indigestion and stuff was so bad, so like leading up to her birth I just really wasn't getting much sleep, you know, being big and stuff. It was summertime, and also like I used to get Braxton Hicks a lot with Brayvah, so I think we ended up going to the hospital like twice because I thought I was in labor, but it was really just Braxton Hicks. So yeah, that was kind of embarrassing because I would like show up like, oh, I think I'm in labor, and I was never in labor. We literally tried everything to induce her: walking, sex, nipple stimulation, pineapple, pressure points, like you name it, we did it. I even did the castor oil, and it didn't even make me poop. Like, it didn't even make me go to the bathroom. So we, like, every time we would run into somebody, it'd be like, oh, you should try this, and oh, you should try that. We literally tried everything like 1,000 times. Nothing worked. Brayvah did not want to come out. The day that I went into labor, though, I believe we did have Chinese food, and my sister did rub my leg, but ultimately I think it was the cervical sweep that just kind of got things going, because after that point I was like crampy all day long. Leading up to the night, basically everybody had left me that night, so I was at home because, like I said, we had Chinese food that day, so I ate everybody's leftovers because my husband went out with his friends, like, okay, this is the last time we're gonna be able to go before we have this baby. My sister took my brother to, where's your sockies? My sister took my brother to the Oregon State Fair. What, baby? Okay, I'll go get you some juice. Okay, so anyways, I ate everybody's Chinese food. Husband went out with his friends. My sister took my brother to the Oregon State Fair, so I was just home alone, kind of like feeling blah. And I remember I started feeling kind of nauseous, and I really never, even up until I actually was pushing her out, I was never like, oh, I'm in labor. Like, it never hit me that, oh, this is it. I was feeling crappy. My sister and my husband came back. Me and my sister got in a huge fight, which I think contributed a lot to me like really full-blown going into labor, because it was pretty slow, and then we got in a fight, and her and my husband got in a fight, and it just, the stress of it, I think, just put everything kind of into overdrive. So my sister ended up leaving, and I started timing my contractions, and they were about, I think they went from like 7 to 6 to 5, and I remember we went to bed, and I told my husband, I don't think I'm gonna be able to sleep. And I think at one point I straightened my hair, like, just in case. But yeah, we finally laid down, and I was just like, I don't think I can sleep, because they were getting pretty intense. So I got up, got in the bathtub. I think he called the hospital, called my sister. He ended up coming in, pouring hot water on my stomach, which felt really good. I got out of the bathtub because I was just, it was hurting a lot. So I think that was when I was kind of like, we need to go to the hospital. Then I went to the bathroom, and I'm pretty sure I wiped, and there was like brown discharge, and so I was like, okay, we need to go. So we went and got my sister. By the time we got to the hospital, I believe my contractions were about 3 minutes apart, and they were always lasting a minute, and I was 4 centimeters. I tried to go to the bathroom right when I got there. I told the nurse that I needed to go number 2, and she was like, no, that's the baby's head, I can't let you go to the bathroom, which was so annoying because it wasn't. I needed to go to the bathroom. So that was annoying. She was more of an aggressive nurse, but that out of all the nurses, that was the only one that just kind of, she was sucky. So, after probably being there, oh, and when I went into like actual labor, it was like 12 o'clock at night, and by the time we got to the hospital, I think it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. And after being there for probably an hour, I was like shaking, I was throwing up a ton, I was crying, I was like doing my breathing, which I was doing really good. But at that point, I put on my birth plan that I wanted to go all natural and that I want to try and get in the bathtub, and I was like, no, I want an epidural, I want it now. And the nurse kept saying, well, do you want to get in the bathtub? And I was like, no, I just want an epidural. Well, at the hospital I go to, they're better about doing, you know, natural births or vaginal births, but they're a smaller hospital, so they don't always have somebody right then and there to do your epidural. So the person that had to do mine was on call, so I believe I didn't get my epidural till about 5:30 in the morning. Then when I actually did get my epidural, it only numbed half of me, so I still felt contractions on half my stomach. I think it was my right side, and they toned it down enough that I could sleep. And when I'd wake up, they would just check me, and I think they checked me, and I was like, I think I went from 4 to 7, and then at 7, that's when they broke my water.
Hi, silly.
Hi, silly. You want to say hi? Say hi, guys. Getting juice on my face. Say hi. I was talking about how you came into the world. So they broke my water at like 7 centimeters, and then I slept a little bit longer, and they woke me, or when I woke up and they checked me, I was 10 centimeters, and they're like, okay, well, whenever you feel like you need to push, you can go ahead and push. So at that point, I think Sal went to go get a coffee in the hospital. My sister was passed out, and that's when all of a sudden I started feeling all this pressure, and I was like, oh my gosh, where's Sal? I'm gonna have this baby. Like, I thought I was gonna have this baby while he was gone. Apparently they were taking forever at the coffee station or whatever. It was like one old lady or something. And so I was like trying to wake my sister up. She wouldn't wake up, and I just started feeling like I needed to push. Well, then Sal showed up, and I told him, you know, I think it's time. So they got the doctor, or not the doctors, my nurses. And then when it gets closer, after a while, I think they get your midwife. I can't really remember, but she wasn't there the whole time that I was in labor. Around 10:30 is when I started pushing, and I remember like right when they lifted my leg to start pushing, I farted, and I was so embarrassed. So I didn't really want to push. But at that point, my epidural, I felt my contractions, but my contractions didn't really hurt that bad, but pushing did hurt. I did feel like the crowning, and I did feel her crowning and things like that. So I started pushing at 10:30, and I had her at 11:37, so it was about an hour of pushing, and I had her. From having her, I believe that she came out like this, so I did tear a little bit. It was only a 2nd-degree tear, but I did need some stitches. I noticed that people who do like natural, no medication births, they always say like once that baby's out, they feel like relief or something, like, oh wow, just all the pain goes away and your baby comes out, which I don't know because I had an epidural. But I know that when Brayvah came out, I didn't feel relief. Like, I still felt like uncomfortable. It wasn't until the placenta came out that I was like, oh, thank God. Like, it just felt so much better. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I just know that once that came out, I was just like, oh, thank you. I could barely walk after I had her, and not even just because of the epidural, because once that wore off, I was able to stand up and go pee, which was a mess. I had blood like all over the floor. But just even after that, even days, I was sore for a long time, but it took a long time for me to feel like I could walk normally. Like I barely got out of the bed the whole time we were in the hospital because I could just not walk. And I don't know if that's just from having a baby, or if it could be the epidural did it, or it was my first baby, so you know, my hips and everything spreading, I don't know. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is I did need an IV because I had the group B strep thing, streptococcus or whatever, so I did need an IV up to 4 hours before actually having her, so they got that started right away when I got into the hospital. And it took them like 10 times to get that stinking IV in. Like it hurt way worse than getting my epidural done because they just kept poking me. I remember just sitting in the bed holding Brayvah and just feeling like, oh my god, I just got hit by a train. Like I remember feeling so weak and so tired. But once she was out, I did not let her go for nothing. Like Sal held her, my sister held her, but she did not leave my arms. And I think the only time she really left the room was to do a couple tests, those tests they do after the baby's born, and that was it. Like otherwise she was in my arms. Even when I slept, she was in my arms, and they never bugged me and told me I couldn't do that, which was really nice. I was really tired, really weak. I was scared to go to the bathroom after having her poop or pee because I was scared it was gonna hurt, but they give you like stool softeners and stuff, but still it does sting. So Brayvah, no, don't touch that. So because Brayvah was born with a cleft palate, she wasn't able to latch on, so that was a very big disappointment, and I remember feeling really upset about that because I just thought like, oh, I'm gonna be a pro breastfeeder, but once like I was having a hard time with her latching, and then the nurses came in and they were looking at her, and my husband wasn't in there, it was just me and my sister, and they said, oh, she has a hole in her throat. And I was just like, what does that mean? So they had to have like specialists come in. They said like, well, she has a cleft palate, and she had to have special bottles, and she'll have to have therapy, she'll have to have surgery, and it was just a lot for us to take in. We were really freaked out, and because she wasn't latching, she didn't eat for like 24 hours, so she got jaundice, and we didn't know, you know, that meant, they made it sound like so horrible, like she was gonna die. And like the day I got discharged, they were like, well, she might have to stay the night, and I was just so upset. I remember holding everything, and like my husband had to call family, had to call family, and you know, he told them that I was handling everything okay, but like inside I was just scared and upset. And of course I'm the one who carried her for 9 months, so I was blaming myself. And as you can see, she's healthy and fine now. She took the surgery fine. Eventually my milk did come in though 2 days later after having her, and I just pumped for 4 months until it pretty much dried up. So yeah, this is part 1. I just want to talk about my labor and delivery and how it went with Brayvah. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. And I'm going to go ahead and do a separate video on what we plan on doing with Mavis.